Just baseless assertion after baseless assertion. I was pulling my fucking hair out. Not you, Nathan. Why didn't you people go to experiment right off the bat? Not you, Nathan, with the PNS wave horse shit. Not you, Nathan. How many fucking times do I gotta sit here and go through this shit with you? Not you, Nathan. Why? Tell me. Not you, Nathan. Why didn't you hold him to experiment? Fucking prove it by experiment. Not you, Nathan. Fucking argument for an hour. I sat here bored to fucking tears. Learn the fucking scientific method or get the fuck out of here. Not you, Nathan. I'm talking to everyone. Not you, Nathan. I've been doing this for 4 fucking years. If you didn't fucking get it by now, get the fuck out of here. Not you, Nathan. You're part of the problem. Not you, Nathan. Fucking shit. Not you, Nathan. I'm sick of this shit. Not you, Nathan.
Good day.
Globers assemble. They all come in here.
So I'm doing a thing at the minute on the development of arguments.
Excellent.
Over the years. And would you say your arguments have changed?
Well, it depends which ones specifically.
Anyone, right? I mean,
all of them.
Yeah, let's say the modus tollens.
When you first started, yeah. Why not? Yeah. I would have to say yes.
The one that you call the Black Swan.
Oh shit! I mean, I hardly use that one, but I mean,
I talked to
It does come up, right? But we use long distance observations, so
I talked to Flat Earth Data yesterday. He said he made that argument.
Who?
Flat Earth Data.
Who the hell is that?
You don't know who Flat Earth Data is?
No.
Well, he's the guy that's claimed to have made the Black Swan.
Oh, okay.
And that was like an optic argument, isn't it?
I guess I don't know who the guy is. Was he in our group before and now he's not? Flat Earth Data. Does anybody know who that guy is?
I remember the name, but you know,
sounds familiar.
It's like, yeah, meh.
He's
Was
wrote,
it
he's
the
wrote a
name
book.
of the YouTube channel or something?
No, it was a dude that was in our chat before. I think I remember him a few years ago.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
he must
he
have
said he
been
came up
around
with
when
it,
they
and now
did
he's-
that, because he's claimed to have done that argument.
Okay.
Now, do you think that argument still stands, or have you developed it?
No, long distance observations would be a great way to display how the Earth doesn't conform to the values that it claims that it does. So, I mean, I would say the Black Swan is a part of that. So,
Didn't
included in the long distance observations.
Didn't you used to have like the Black Swan as a tag for your mods? Must have meant something.
Still do.
Yeah, we still have that.
It was the #1 proof for the flat Earth, wasn't it? For
Well, dude,
a number of years.
it being #1, I mean that's a choice, I think. Some people champion other points, but that seems to be one of the points that people. And like I said, Black Swan just stands for not just the one that BLMS video and image. It's not just that. It's any long distance observation that exceeds the predictable amount of Earth curvature that should be there to obstruct an observer. So
Well said.
I would say
Exactly.
I would say that would be a Black Swan. It's a method. It's not just. I mean, you can call that one specifically the Black Swan, but the Black Swan is just a method. It's not really just that thing.
Yeah, I mean the Black Swan's
So I
a
don't know if you're
statement,
hung up
isn't
on
it?
that.
Wait.
That's
All swans are white.
Ben,
There's the Black Swan.
Ben from Taboo Conspiracy. Ben from Taboo Conspiracy was pointing it out. The distance to the horizon, using distance markers across bodies of water, way before anyone. I think. I think he was the first I ever saw do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I heard that you
Was it
can't measure
before
a
the-
distance to the horizon.
The surface level regurgitation of flat Earth talking points. So he's gone up and he's seen Earth curve. We debunked Earth curve in 2020. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 59 miles, then every distance to horizon measurement, that's what they're calling Earth curve, could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as dictated by their Earth curve maths. The distance to horizon in the black swan is beyond 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere, and the horizon is not Earth curve. We have debunked it based on geometry.
No, it's not possible.
No. So, why did he call it a black swan?
Because in his mind, he thought when he was writing that argument that showing one example of the Earth not doing exactly what he said it must do means that you've means that seeing at sex distance, geometric distance.
Yeah, a measured distance to the horizon. Yeah.
Yeah. He thought seeing one example of that not happening.
Have you measured the distance to the horizon yet?
No.
Okay. Did QE measure the distance to the horizon?
No idea.
Modus tollens.
No idea. Even if he did, it wouldn't falsify it.
Wouldn't falsify what?
Globe.
Well, the argument is a measured distance to the horizon. It's a necessary consequent, right? So he, in order to invalidate his statement, he must have measured a distance to the horizon, right? Not
No,
Q.
I think he used. I think he would have used
Not Q.
those two words, right?
Modus tollens, not Q. Therefore, not P. Not Q. So how do you say not Q? If the measured distance to the horizon must be something, you have to measure the distance to the horizon to be not that, don't you? Not Q.
Mm-hmm.
You do understand the logical form, don't you?
I think everyone can see what he's trying to do.
What's he trying to do? Fool
Modus
flat
tollens.
earthers into thinking that fallacious modus tollens is actually an argument for invalidating a spherical globe or invalidating a radius, just to get rid of the radius. Not a sphere. Like, not a sphere is their conclusion of the black swan.
Well, what do you think about them telling me that?
Not P.
I mean, I'm curious about like what you think about them telling me that it was never the conclusion was never it's not a sphere. The conclusion was just not
What
P.
do you mean?
Because they do
Never,
have not.
Did you never hear Nathan Oakley?
No, but this is what they're telling me now.
AMA. Well, I don't care
No.
what they're telling you. Nathan Oakley on the AMA the other day said the Earth is not a sphere.
With that modus tollens.
Yeah.
God, I'd love to ask him about that.
I wonder why nobody did. Wonder why nobody. Well, actually, people have.
Oh, he said it in the
us.
AMA.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? Oh, I was
I've
at
got
work.
That's what I'm going over here. You keep
Well,
saying,
God.
I don't know why people are going over it. Well, this is why we're going over it, because Nathan Oakley's still repeating a fallacious modus tollens after 4 fucking years.
I'm not contesting that. I'm just surprised that because I was at work in a meeting, so I wasn't even able to listen. So I think that probably happened the first part of the AMA.
So how do you feel about your flirf daddy?
My flirf daddy
like that, yeah. Like he's not
very disappointed.
You could have told QE to tell him, right, that it's a fallacious modus tollens. I mean, I know they told you that you know what they mean when it's the you know it isn't really fallacious. They just tell Nathan Oakley to say it. Because QE hasn't bothered telling anybody that that's not what they actually meant. Because he's still repeating.
No, it's just what the flat earthers have been telling me in 24/7. They've been saying, well, it's not actually fallacious because it says not P. The Earth is not a sphere. It's supposed to be quote commentary, not the actual argument.
Well, Nathan Oakley repeated it as though it was part of the argument, not P.
Yeah, I
Earth is
agree.
not
I
a
mean,
sphere. QE says
if that happened
the
a few
Earth is
days
not a
ago,
sphere.
yeah, if that happened a few days ago, I'd like to ask them
Yeah.
why they're.
That's why I'm going over this. I'm
they're
contrasting
best at
the first time QE ever did it with the latest time that Nathan Oakley's done it, and seems to be exactly the same. No difference. The Earth is not a sphere. Flat Earthers, get away from that. Do that easy. Fallacious modus tollens, just give it to the flat Earthers. Get them to say it. Makes them look stupid, right? I mean, that if you want to troll flat Earthers, then you put a character in like QE that aggressively tells people what they have to say. Not P. There we go.
If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P, therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere.
Not P. See, not P and P seem to be slightly different for both Nathan and QE. Fucking amazing.
Was a sphere with a radius of 39.
I don't know why Nathan uses if the Earth was a sphere. It's a bit weird.
If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, and the Earth is not a sphere.
Do you see him? Hear him say, "And the Earth is not a sphere." Like, do you think that's a slippery way of him trying to get out of the problem with QE's argument?
I wouldn't be sure it's QE's. Nathan Oakley handed it off to Brenda. But, like, nobody bothered asking Brenda about that the other day.
Therefore not P.
Nathan doesn't do the P's and Q's, so we'll have to use QE.
If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles,
Therefore not P.
and the Earth is not a sphere.
That's fucking great. And the Earth is not a sphere. Hey presto. Boom. Bish bash bosh. They're done. 'Tis measured flat. It's not a sphere, so I mean, if it's not a sphere, what must it be? False dichotomy.
Your claim,
Therefore not P.
and the Earth is not a sphere.
If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles,
Hi, Jerry.
P. Therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere.
Morning,
If
guys.
the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles,
Therefore not P.
and the Earth is not a sphere.
24/7. I wouldn't know because I'm banned.
Oh, that's bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you watch that video, Huey?
Which video?
The video I told you that a heretic might have watched about you.
No,
and
I didn't watch
Peter.
it. I need to watch it. I'll watch it
Yeah,
now.
don't bother watching it.
I'll watch it now.
Just sulk about it for a bit. You know,
Watch it now. I'll see if I ever said I'm going to take down
cry
the
to
server.
Jerry about being banned.
Community. Please allow me to introduce to you the one you've known for all these years. Your Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Black Plague.
The Black Swan. Karl Popper originated the idea that if you assert that all swans are white, you only need to show one black swan to debunk that as a claim. Now, in the case of our
Black Swan. If P, then Q. Not Q, therefore not P.
we showed that where you would assert a plate called Earth curve, we can show that the hill that's supposed to be in the way of a set of oil rigs
Not Q.
isn't in the way of it. It's behind it. It's behind it.
Not Q. Therefore not P.
Hill in the way called Earth curve.
Not Q. Therefore not P. Therefore not P. Not P.
So based on that premise, demonstrated in the image we call
Black Swan.
we form a logical consistency argument.
Modus tollens. Holy shnikes. This is going to leave a mark.
If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles,
If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P,
then every distance to horizon measurement,
then any horizon
as made by
distance
using
measurement
one
must
of
be
could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of
Must
the
be
observer's height. in
no
feet.
more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height.
As laid down
Here.
in the begging
Then
the
any
question,
horizon
proof of
distance
nothing,
measurement must
perspective
be
hijacking Earth curve calculation. Then every
you would
distance
use
to
to make
horizon
that claim.
measurement. Meanwhile, in the Black Swan image, the horizon's behind the things that's supposed to be blocked by it.
Not Q,
Ergo, Earth has no Earth curve.
not Q,
The horizon's behind the things that's supposed to be blocked by it.
not Q,
Then every distance to horizon measurement.
not Q. Why? Because the horizon distance was greater than
The horizon's
9.41
behind
miles.
the things that's supposed to be blocked by it.
Not Q,
Ergo, Earth has no Earth curve, edge horizon, the form of,
not Q, therefore not P.
and the Earth is not a sphere.
Therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere.
Earth has no Earth curve, edge horizon, the form of,
Therefore not P.
and the Earth is not a sphere.
If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P. Therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere.
If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles,
Therefore not P.
and the Earth is not a sphere.
Therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere.
The Black Swan.
If P, then Q. Not Q, therefore not P.
Because that's what physical bridges that obscure fire hydrants do. Yeah, they don't do that. Demonstrably not blowing up to vast times bigger than you'd have to have. Yeah, they don't do that. 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 Yeah, they don't do that.
Here is the final kill shot.
You only need to show one Black Swan to debunk that as a claim.
So that's debunked.
Then every distance to horizon measurement.
So that's debunked.
Ergo, Earth has no Earth curve.
So that's debunked. Therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere. So that's debunked.
Because physical hills don't do that. And if you're saying there's a physical hill blocking boats and buildings, we debunked it in 2020.
So that's debunked.
I think.
What? Sorry?
You can't measure a distance to the horizon,
Nobody's saying you can, except
Who's
Globers.
saying that?
except the argument.
Really?
No, Globers are. Globers are saying that.
No, the Black Swan argument says if the Earth has a radius of such and such, then all
Yeah, it'd be a
measurement
geometric consequence.
distances
Yes,
to the
it
horizon
would be a
will
geometric consequence, exactly. It would be a geometric consequence, yes.
But you
Yeah,
can't
there's no
measure a
denying
distance to the
that,
horizon. I mean, that was. I'm not really that interested in. You know, 'cause everybody knows it's a fallacious modus tollens. But what I was asking
No, do
was,
they? Everybody,
like, is the
everybody.
development
Everybody.
gone anywhere?
Who's everybody?
Wait.
So
Brev,
I
can you
do?
put-
I'm part of everybody? Do I know that?
You don't
I
know
want you
it's
guys
a
to see
fallacious
something.
modus tollens?
Yeah, Bev, can you do me a favor? Post what your revised version of that, because I don't think people have seen what you've done.
What do you mean, my
Can you do that?
revised version? No, that's it's a
Yeah.
completely different argument.
Or different argument,
How
but
about-
it's isn't it working off the back of like saying that this is incorrect, but what I have is a
No, it's
better
just a
version?
wait. It's just a modus tollens, right?
Well, Can you present that? I mean, I'd like
present a modus tollens that isn't fallacious. To show what a modus tollens, what that is fallacious.
I mean, if you're gonna post it, I mean, put it in the text chat.
So no, I see that, but that's my progression of arguments. Mine goes a long way. The question was to you guys: has your argument changed or differed from that argument?
The construction of
the original.
The construction of the Black Swan argument is a method by which we can talk to people about long-distance observations that can provide evidence that the Earth isn't conforming to the geometric standard of the Earth being a globe of the specific numeric values that they give us with the radius, diameter, and circumference. So what it does is that it helps us utilize a method. So the method can be replicated anywhere that you have a body of water that can have a demarcation position, like a oil rig or a buoy or something that's stationary that we can, a peninsula, it doesn't really matter what it is. But then, therefore, after that, we make an observation to the horizon using that demarcation position, whatever it is. And then using that, we can say, okay, we know the distance to the known distance from the observer to the thing that we're seeing, that we can know the distance to. Then far beyond that would be the horizon. And we say something akin to the horizon distance is farther than. That there's no numeric value to the horizon. However, it will, with the demarcated distance marker, will exceed the limit of the Earth curve that should be purported to be there according to the predicted amount that should be there from the distance from the observer to the known distance, right? Like I said, the buoy or the peninsula, whatever it is that sticks out in the way of the observer seeing on far beyond that to the horizon. So I don't know, maybe you think that people have said the distance to the horizon was measured. Maybe you got your wires crossed there. I don't know. But it's never been the case.
All you've shown, AV, is that Earth's not a sphere with a radius value of 3,959 miles.
It doesn't
Could
say
be
that,
a
though.
bigger sphere.
That's not the conclusion.
It can't be a bigger sphere. If the horizon was the apex, right, of a sphere, a tangent point to a line of sight based on any radius value, then it wouldn't move around, right? That would be an indication that that we are on a sphere, and it's not that.
I don't know what you've constructed, but like I said, you should post it for the audience. Maybe they can see what you.
Well, I've developed a series of arguments.
I think there's a wasn't there an image that goes along with this? I've seen it before. I mean, you don't have to post it if you don't want. It's up to you. But could demonstrate to the audience anyway what your position is.
Well, I could demonstrate that the argument that you guys call a black swan is a fallacious in-form argument.
You guys want to hear it? Bev's going to talk about it.
Heard it before. I know what he's going to say, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah, please do.
Well, no, the actual question to you guys was, has your argument progressed in the 5 years?
But when you say argument, singular, like, was there only one? I didn't think there was.
What other arguments? That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
Oh,
How has your argument progressed?
It's kind of hard to understand what he's saying, so you got to be a bit pedantic with him. So be specific.
Do you guys have a better argument than the Black Swan argument that was presented 5 years ago? Can I make it any simpler than that?
No, now you did.
Just in the library, man.
People use all kinds of arguments, Bev. They're not.
Yeah. Do you
Black
have
Swan
one?
is not like the top of the list, or we're going like, oh, let's go to the top tier arguments. Let's pull from the very top. That's Black Swan. Like, some people don't start there, so I don't know.
It's one of the simplest.
Nobody's even obligated to
right?
disprove the sphere. Nobody's even obligated to disprove the globe. The onus is on anyone that thinks it is a globe to prove it.
But the modus
to
tollens is set
in
up
reality that we live on a globe. In other
falsification.
words, because I know how you feel about the word proof too.
The modus tollens is set up for falsification.
Who cares?
Well, that's what the purpose of it is.
Who cares, bro?
People who make arguments, which normally within debate scenarios, that's
great, Bev.
pretty
but present
important.
it so that we can hear how you formalize it. Let's hear it.
The
Unless
Black
you don't
Swan.
want to, I don't care.
Okay, let me. I'll put it in the chat for you guys. All right.
Sounds good.
So this is. This is the original argument as wrote out by QE. Form and everything. He's just changed this. He's put it on his website. Right? Can you all see it? So we can
modus
follow.
tollens, if P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P.
That's the form of a modus tollens, right? Then he puts his argument out there, and then he says not P, and then equals. Now, see at the beginning, it says if P then Q, not Q, therefore not P.
Told you.
See the P at the beginning. It's not the same as the P at the end, is it? So actually, the form of the argument that QE's wrote there is if P then Q, not Q, therefore not P. You see where the actual argument is actually fallacious in form.
No, that's not. I don't think that is that true. Is that so?
No, I don't know that Earth is not a sphere in big capital letters with exclamation marks at the end as part of P. Like, I don't think that's being presented there as the P premise. I think it's just saying, therefore not P. Full stop. And then extra statement,
Equals.
Earth is not a sphere.
Equals.
No, just therefore not P.
It says equals.
Therefore not P. That's valid. That's a valid form.
Yeah,
Bev, I think
equals.
The F, therefore, Earth is not
you're right.
a sphere.
Yeah, you're right. It does say equals. Yeah, I'm blind, going blind. Yeah, it does say equals. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay,
it does say that, but I think it's subject to interpretation whereby either the entire clause, therefore not P, is equivalent to Earth is not a sphere, or P itself is equivalent to Earth is not a sphere, whereby you would have the equivalent statement, therefore not Earth is not a sphere, and that's where you get your double negative. But it's subject to your interpretation. I think the claim, the statement was really supposed to be, in parentheses, not P is equal to Earth is not a sphere, whereby you wouldn't have a double negative. It's just an emphasis.
Yeah, but his
it really
P
depends.
statement at the beginning comes with a radius value. And
that's another point.
When you falsify the P, right, you say not P, but QE hasn't done that, has he? He's concluded that it's not a sphere.
It's encapsulating the entire argument. Yeah. What it's doing.
That's what do you think you'd revise that argument for modern day use, like 5 years on?
Well, I couldn't have in the past.
I mean, if you were writing it in, say you were scripting a book, right, for publication, would you be happy to place that argument within a book that is a reference book for flat Earth, right?
Yep. If I can throw one. May I just quickly? I just want to point out. I think I can recall in the past somebody mentioning that the omission of the extra term or extra terms with a radius of 3959 miles out of the end of the statement was more for emphasis again rather than anything else. So if anything, one could add those extra couple bits into the end, into the conclusion, so as to not risk somebody making the claim that the P is being modified at the end. Because I have heard something like that in the past, and I think that's what you're touching on. Right?
Well, I think you could pretty much insert any radius value in there, and it would still apply, because the horizon's not a fixed distance; it moves around, changes.
Yeah,
it's an optical
but the Q
result.
But the Q specifies the 1.225, right? If that wasn't there and it was more generic, then you could genericize most of the argument, right?
Oh. I just think the main point is that the horizon's not the result of geometry of the surface of a sphere, but rather it's just something.
You change the radius. You change the 1.225. No matter how you do the numbers, you end up with the resultant, which is the sum total of the argument, which is then the equals of all the previous clauses in totality, which equals the Earth is not a sphere. Quantum Eraser already answered this many, many times, that he chose to do it in this way intentionally for that reason. He said it on his show. He actually said it in direct reply to Bev's accusation that it's an invalid form. So Bev's just Bev. Usual.
Well, there you go.
Bev, why don't you present your argument and let's tear it to pieces.
Is it your contention that it is not fallacious in form?
It's encapsulating
that
the
argument as presented. Do you
I
think
don't
the
know.
Earth
We've
is
been around
not a
this circle.
sphere in, capital letters, exclamation marks? Is that a valid conclusion from that argument?
You completely ignored all the caveats that were given you because you're disingenuous.
It's just the argument. It's presented there as an argument.
I don't care. Hey, dude, you can't read. You got a problem with reading comprehension and listening comprehension. That's not our problem.
Okay. So you'd say that's okay to go in a book then? A reference book for the
Bev, you got a problem. You got a problem that the FED panel's writing a book and you ain't? Is that the beef?
No, not at all.
Well, then who gives a fuck what you want to say, bro?
Well, so you give your thumbs up to this argument as is? Yep. Wow, what's going on there with that?
Didn't I explain it to you not 1 minute ago? And you completely ignored it, just like you ignored all the caveats given to you by the other members on this panel? It's like you literally turn your ears off.
Mm-hmm.
Ev, put your argument in the chat and let's go through it and let's see how good yours is.
People's arguments.
Yeah, Bev, you're talking about other people's arguments. Let's talk about yours.
Okay, you want a modus tollens?
Dude, I don't care. Put any argument. Let's see. Let's see how good it is.
Wait, so he's saying that we need to thumbs down the argument that somebody else is writing in their own book? What the hell?
Yeah, exactly. Well, by the way,
I came in to see whether the argument has progressed.
Dude, I could care less.
It doesn't sound like it has.
Dude,
it sounds like
progressed in exposition.
So what's your argument then? What's your progression?
To understand, dude. Holy crap. Hey, listen, before I even joined, two of the other people talking to you told you that if you alter the parameters, you still end up with the result and the Earth is not a sphere. So the summation of the whole thing, regardless of the individual numbers put in. Yeah, dude.
Okay, so you don't get rid of the radius completely. You just get rid of the radius stated in the first premise.
Which ends up with the same result, because then you have to change the 1.22. And then the image that you're looking at isn't going to match other images that exist. And that ends up with the Earth not being a sphere.
Okay, so you change your 1.22. But the 1.22 Snell's law, right?
Holy fuck. Yeah, dude. I'm going to Snell's law your ability to speak.
Shut the fuck up!
Had a real hard problem, dude, listening and understanding, okay? This argument, dude, is partly argumentative in the formal sense and partly rhetorical in the larger commentary sense on the globe position. Now, notice how my other two friends in here, they were able to catch it.
P-Dub caught it, and the other guy talking caught it. He said, well, you know, if you change this and that, it still would end up with the Earth not being a sphere. So the Earth not being a sphere is the summation of the whole thing. Fits. The only person that doesn't get that is you.
And the moment someone the argument didn't change.
Okay, but the 1.22.
And for the history, the people that don't know, Bev has this penchant that he has the real argument, and he's got this bone to pick with QE about this modus tollens. It's not, yeah, we know you do. So why don't you post one already so we can criticize it?
Well, we're still going over this one, right? The 1.22 is Snell's law.
You're not going over it
because I was talking to. Listen, I was talking to Data. He claimed to have made this argument.
Hey, did you know Flat Earth Data wrote a book? Did you know that?
Yes.
Flat Earth Data wrote a book.
Yes, I know.
Did you read his book?
I talked to him. No, I didn't read it. It's just a load of comments.
Listen, friend, check this out. I read the so you know you post it on Amazon and people can comment on it. One of the comments of somebody who read the book says, "This is the most abysmal, painful thing my eyes have ever witnessed."
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I've talked to him.
I know, dude. You notice how like AV didn't even know who you're talking about? It's like you're coming in here with like these grasping at straws. So why don't you just get to a point where you show us your argument and then we all praise you for being the hero of Flat Earth? How about that?
I'm not, right?
Oh, dude, I've been waiting.
I don't worry about that.
Literally since you came in here.
Dude, you don't worry about it so much that half of your shows are about bitching about QE's arguments and you have better. So where's your better ones?
It's just talking about arguments and the form of logic.
Yeah, dude, we know you and we know the way you operate and we know how you play. So don't play around. Just get to your argument already.
The case I made yesterday when I was talking to Data, who claimed to have made this argument.
I could care less, dude.
Right? Is the 1.22 is Snell's law, and it's an optical thing.
Bruh.
Which
no, it. Oh my God!
Gives you an ability to put a distance.
Bev, are you dumb? Are you dumb, dude?
Yes.
Okay, let me explain it to you. 1.225 and 1.223, I believe, are different numbers that are used in the equation of the Rayleigh criterion versus the equation of a globe of that radius, which is an intersection point of a tangent line to an elevation off of the distance from the circle segment formula, dude. So quit trying to blow smoke up our ass.
There you go. Rayleigh's criterion, right?
Oh, yeah. Gee, I wonder how I knew that.
1.22.
Dude, keep distracting from the fact that you're not presenting any argument.
So that's a distance. It gives you a chance to give a distance to when the object would disappear.
Oh, my God.
Right?
He's going to be on this point for a while, dude, until...
Yeah, he's going to talk himself in circles until nobody notices that he didn't actually present an argument because he's actually afraid to present one because he knows it's going to get critiqued live on the fly. Hey, you keep saying that. AV asked you for one. You still haven't posted one.
Because I came here to see whether your argument has progressed.
No.
It's not our argument, you dummy.
Don't worry.
So did you have an argument?
Yeah.
Crap.
And has that argument progressed?
I have an argument. Bev, here's my argument. My argument is you have no argument.
Sounds like a statement. Uh-oh.
You're roboting AJ. So let me...
Hey. Well, start over, homie.
But
AJ, you still roboting AJ. So, Bev, first you were criticizing the P, now you're criticizing the 1.225?
Wow.
He criticizes everything until you concede that his arguments are the best.
Is it?
He hasn't even presented one yet.
All horizon distance measurements must be consequent, right?
Wow, dude.
If P, then Q.
And obfuscation.
Have you ever heard of the term?
To do the same.
Have you ever heard of the saying, mind your P's and
You guys want me to post one of their arguments and then we critique it since Bev ain't stepping to the plate? How about that?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like
you ever heard of the fourth law?
We do
You
not
ever
care.
read of the? You ever read of the? You're a Dumbo.
Mind your P's and Q's, because there has to
Yeah,
be
mind your P's
there has
and-
to be
yeah,
a
mind your
natural
P's and
consequence of the antecedent, right?
Boring, bro.
Of reason and consequence. The
Hold on, I'm
fourth
gonna
law,
post something.
they call it.
Yeah, we know, bro.
Do you?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
That's why I explained it to you 5 minutes ago, you dummy.
You dumbass.
That's why two people before I joined explained it to you as well. Mick and Timbo. T-Dub, I'm sorry.
Same shit. Same shit.
Oh, they're two different individuals that deserve the human dignity of not being racistly classed as one ethnic group just because they're both from the same continent.
The same person.
What's funny is AV just honestly asked you for one of your arguments, and I don't know, it's like 10 minutes later or something.
Yeah, we're going on 15.
Get triggered whenever I put one of my arguments out there.
Bev, you said you were gonna post it, dude. Like that's what we've been.
Don't worry, I'm
waiting
gonna
for.
post it. I'm gonna post it, and then we're gonna critique it, and you're gonna see how easily I debunk it. It's hilarious. It's actually hilarious.
Now this is, of course, if he hasn't revised his own argument, and if you're posting the one that, is his current.
The worst part is that this argument that they present, they preface it with, "This argument comes for the logical thinking people at this venue, because we're the good ones that know how to do arguments."
Yeah, it's a little shameless plug to their forum.
Yeah, they've been critiquing the Black Swan and those merits, even though they knew the caveats that Quantum Eraser had put in there. Keep pretending like they don't know them. They keep straw manning the whole thing.
Yeah, it's an argument. It's made for a discussion, right? Isn't that what the argument is placed there for?
Yeah, dude, it's made for discussion. You're told the parsings, and then you seem to conveniently hit yourself in the head with a hammer so you could forget them and then critique them the next day.
Also, he's doing the reset, the global reset.
Okay, let me put it very simply. The argument isn't written in a complete classical form in its entire text. Obviously.
Fallacious in form, then.
No, not fallacious in form.
But like visually fallacious in form, but if you adjust the argument in your head, then you can make it not. Can't you?
That didn't even make sense, but go ahead. Yeah,
there's a lot of people that think this argument gets rid of the sphere.
Wait, Bev, did you really just reset from everything that I just told
Where do
you?
you see this argument from Bev that they think gets rid of the sphere, and where do you see how I show you it doesn't get rid of the sphere?
QE says it gets rid of the sphere. Earth is not a sphere. That's the conclusion from this argument.
My goodness, dude, listen, a formal argument that has a strict formal conclusion, right, can be expanded upon with caveats, right? And all the permutative resultants, if they equal the same net result, then it's okay to say that this argument in itself disproves that the Earth's a sphere. That's actually fine.
It just disproves that one radius value of the P statement, though, doesn't it? Actually, the argument.
So what you're saying, the radius of the Earth is 250,000 miles?
No, I'm saying this argument states that one particular radius value stated in his first premise is the thing that gets falsified.
Yeah, it's not P.
Not the
P.
sphere.
Yeah, not P. The sphere that they claim. It's not P.
No,
so
the radius value.
Summary conclusion, the Earth is not a sphere. Especially what they claim.
If you say it's QE's argument, is it? Or Data's argument? Well, it's someone's argument, right?
Wow, dude. Well, who cares about data, dude? And who cares that he claims some arguments are his, dude? The dude has got like a megalomaniacal complex, dude.
Okay,
Who
then. Well,
cares what
he
he
just
says?
said they. Who's the they that made this argument?
You're talking.
It could be Aristotle's for all I care.
I was just gonna say, who cares where it came from, dude? Like, all we're concerned with is a methodology in which we're using to disprove the geometric curve of the Earth. Yeah, that's what we're using it for. I don't care if data came up with it or where it comes from, dude. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, you're putting an emphasis on that like it matters. Like, what really does it matter?
Well, within the argument,
Alf, I
it
bet you
only
I could find the
falsifies
episode where
the
this comment
original
was made
premise, right?
And QE mentioned it. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
so,
dude, it's
oh
just
my
like
goodness, dude.
it's not even a point to. It's just a nothing burger, man. Like, honestly, what are you going on about this?
Well, that's what the modus tollens does, right? It's what you do is you find the original statement. Somebody makes a claim, and then the modus tollens allows you to put that claim in the first premise for purposes of falsification.
So where is this having what you just said? What happens if it's flat Earth data or Joe Schmo down the street? Like, what difference does it make?
I swear my grandma wrote it.
Well, it's to the they, the guy that said they. That's why I said it. I mean, who's the they that say that? Because it's this argument that we're talking about.
Okay, bro. All right. Quantum Eraser formulated that particular argument. Okay, we know you got a beef with him. We know you think you got better arguments
Not got a beef with anyone.
Yeah, sure you don't,
We're talking
bro. Quit
about
lying to
this
yourself.
argument.
You think we're stupid? Yeah, sure thing, bro. You think we don't know the history and we haven't watched it all play out? Are you dumb?
I don't know. This argument, though, is the thing that we're talking about. And it's been wrote down.
Cool story, dude.
That's funny.
Yeah, listen, everybody knows. Okay, real quick. Everybody knows that the particular of the P is equal to the initial 3959, right? And then the summation of that portion is that the 3959 radius is debunked. And then the summation of debunking the 3959 radius by that method then equals the Earth is not a sphere for the reasons that T-Dub was intelligent enough to notice and Mick was intelligent enough to notice and everybody except you is intelligent enough to notice.
No, I already know it's not a sphere.
Wow, cool. Good for you, bro.
Stop the cap.
Everyone will tell you it's not a sphere.
Yeah, what is it?
Oh, it's not a sphere because a sphere is an ideal shape that exists in ideal geometry and can't be manifested in the physical world. Wow. Oh, wow. Let's play Pedantics 101.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mountains aren't spherical.
Yeah, notice how
spheres don't have mountains.
Wait till you said that.
Mountains. What a retard.
I was waiting for that, dude. Oh god. I can go to bed now.
Yeah, we've just falsified the sphere, though, right? We didn't need to go and make a fallacious modus tollens to fool people into thinking that gets rid of the sphere. I mean, we know it's not a sphere because the sphere is a geometric.
Yeah, wow, profound, dude, profound. You know it's not an ideal shape that can't exist in reality. Wow, profound.
Sphere is geometric.
Tell us more of your intelligent commentary and insightfulness.
It's not very insightful to know that a sphere is a geometric form, right?
Bruh. You were talking to the boys that went to Antarctica, and one of the comments was that it was debunking the AE map, but then you said, congratulations. One of your comments to the, I think Jaren or someone, you congratulated him and said, thank you for providing evidence that it's a true globe. And I was like, Bev, what the hell are you talking about? I was looking at the comment. I was trying to wonder, why do you even say that?
I've heard you say that a lot. It's not. It's the real globe.
Right.
Yeah, the real.
That's what you keep saying. But
real.
What does that mean?
Well, that means, it means it's real.
The globe.
What the fuck?
Yes.
What does real globe mean,
dude? I mean, you know.
What does the real globe mean?
I know AI. I don't know if you heard this or not. But
It's to differentiate itself, right? To differentiate itself.
Watch this, audience.
To differentiate itself from the dogmatic
What's a real globe?
globe.
Okay, so then what is a real globe then?
The real globe is where all of the proofs of reality are. Right? All of the proofs within reality will help you prove the real globe.
Okay, what's a globe? What's a globe that you have to then adjectively modify it with real? So what's a globe?
A globe is a non-geometric shape.
Wrong.
Oh, tell me, what is a globe then?
Oh, yeah, let me look it up in the frickin' dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
The hell's
Talk about a grammar model that you were given as a child.
No, wait, Mick, there's more. Let AI go.
Oh my
Because
god!
we don't live on a grammar model that we were given as a child,
Okay, here
right?
we go.
Or a
Here we
representation.
go for the slow kids in the back.
Go on.
Globe, a spherical or rounded object, much like an orange. Hey, a globe means a ball-style object. It doesn't mean a non-geometric shape, you goof.
Yeah, that's the model, the grammar model that you were given as a child, right?
Oh, so then you just change it and make it up as you go.
Yeah, I'm saying
that way you can use the term real globe because it's salacious.
Yeah, because everybody knows we don't live on that model, right? That's a representation that you were given as a child. We don't actually live on
Okay,
that.
so we don't live on a fake globe. Everybody knows that. So you're saying we live on the real globe.
The real
by
globe,
the definition
yes.
of what a globe is, I guess you're a glober then.
The real globe, yeah, glomies.
Yeah, you believe in a ball that you live on, I guess, right?
Not a ball, no.
Not a ball. It's a globe. I heard him make a distinction before
which is
about this.
definitely
AI.
not a ball.
No, because
definitely not
you
a
still
ball.
think it's this grammar model.
Oh, dude, no, not at all.
Oh, dude.
From the Latin globus, globe, spherical object.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that thing that you've got. I've got one in the corner of the room here. That globe.
But you say you live
don't
on
live
a real
on that.
globe.
Don't live
then
on
you
that.
live on a real spherical object. You don't live on the fake one in the corner of the room.
No, that's a representation.
You live on a big one.
That's a spherical representation.
Right. So then you're basically telling all of us
not
with all your
spherical.
gobbledygook nonsense that you believe that you live on a giant ball.
The real globe is not spherical, right?
And what shape is it?
It's a non-geometric shape.
Okay, what average form does it take? Does it take the average form of a balloid?
It's non-geometric. The average form.
Notice, friends, how he can't answer the question. He's completely disingenuous.
You won't commit to any.
It's because you're getting confused, right? Because you've got this grammar model that you've got.
I'm the one confused,
you can't get it out of your head.
Mute you so we can watch your argument since you're too dumb to give us one yourself. All right. So, does anyone have the ability to play a clip?
The homie CB, yeah. CB.
Can we share a screen? Play a clip. Hold on, I might be able to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna drop this, bro. Cause I'm done with this moron. Give me a second.
He's finding the definition of a globe is a sphere.
Real globe.
No.
Oh well. You gotta get.
So a real sphere?
Yeah. No. It's a real globe. Don't get it twisted.
We know the globe is not a sphere. The real globe, right? Not a sphere.
Dude.
So does the guy drop over distance?
Shooting that motherfucker.
What the fuck, bro?
You're gonna wear AI like super thin, man. He got on his good mic too. Come
Trying to post something here so we can watch it because Bev isn't presenting his own argument, so we have to do it for him as usual. Hold on. Give me a second. Gotta get back to the channel now. Politics. Channel that we're in. AgCB. Post it. All right, there you go, CB. There's the clip. It's like a minute or less.
Modus tollens is a logical statement set up in such a way that the truth of one statement implies the truth of the second. When the second statement, the consequent, is shown to not be true, then the first statement, the antecedent, must also be untrue. T-shirt logic is a way for these simple logical principles to be broken down for ease of understanding. One such example is the modus tollens, which has been developed by the logically minded individuals at the next level Discord server. If the Earth is a spherical object, P, then the surface of liquid water at rest must curve, Q. A water level is a tool which establishes a horizontal plane of reference, consequently not Q. It is not Q, therefore it cannot be P. Ergo, the Earth cannot be a spherical object.
Hey, you guys catch the assumptions in there?
Yes,
What was one of them?
that or water on a sphere must conform to the exterior of it.
Correct. That's one problem because they're mixing their models. They're thinking that they're imagining a globe Earth, the equipotential gravitational surface of the water being conformed to the surface of the sphere. However, you could live on a sphere and that not be the case. So this argument would not debunk the Earth itself being a sphere because the contingent of the water curving is required about a vector of gravity, not about the actual structure of a surface of a sphere. So they're wrong, and that's just one of the errors in this argument. Okay, but these are supposed to be the arguments that are replacing the black swan as being so much better. Okay, the particulars in this argument aren't even true. So they are expecting you to have certain caveats as a given where you're going to give it to them as part of their argument rather than them parse it out in the argument. So by the very same token that they're dissing quantum erasers modus tollens, they're shoveling it back onto this one. And this one sucks. Because they didn't even disprove their point. Because they didn't even prove their point that these things are required in the first place. Now let's unmute Bev so he can re like a re. Go ahead, Bev. Re.
Go on, what's your critique about it then?
Dude, were you not listening?
Did I mind my P's and Q's?
Oh my goodness, dude.
Is it a consequence of the Earth being a sphere that the surface of liquid water must curve?
No, it's not.
It's not.
That was a valid critique, Bev.
Well, you weren't specific about that, right?
Yeah, that was the thing. If the Earth is a spherical object, then the surface of liquid water, brackets, at rest.
No, that doesn't follow.
Curve.
Only as presented to us in the mainstream cosmogony view.
Yeah. That's why like I just said, the globe is non-geometric.
So you have to borrow from the mainstream presentation as a given that's assumed. Just like quantum erasers
within the argument.
Wow. No, it isn't.
The Earth is a spherical object. It doesn't say sphere, because I already know, everybody knows it's not a sphere. But so this argument says, if the Earth is a spherical object.
What is causing the water to conform to the surface of the sphere?
Euclidean
you're claiming that if the Earth is a spherical object, then water must curve around it. That is not true. It could be true with a certain caveat, which you didn't include in your argument. You were expecting the people to know it and include it, to borrow from the heliocentric worldview and to include it in the critique that you're making with this argument. The exact same thing that Quantum Eraser did in his.
So your contention is that the water at rest would not have to curve.
You didn't even stop talking.
No. Talk straight through it.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
So he's saying that if the Earth is a sphere, then water must curve. Now, does anybody else see the problem with that? Does that logically follow that if the Earth is a sphere, water must curve? Does that follow logically? If the Earth is a sphere, water must curve. Does that follow?
No, No, I can
No.
envision a couple of scenarios where that wouldn't have to necessarily be the case.
Of course,
Right, so
especially if the
right,
sorry,
so
go ahead.
his argument relies on you borrowing knowledge that you already possess from the heliocentric model, correct? And you have to do it graciously in order to carry his conclusion, correct? Everyone agree or disagree?
It's got nothing to do with the heliocentric model.
Right, the exact same thing Quantum Eraser
It's a
did.
spherical object.
Exact same thing.
Fuck's sake.
Expected you to know that if you contingent the radius with the horizon, that you end up with all of that baggage that gets
Horizon not
destroyed, and then
mentioned
the
in
Earth
the
can't be a sphere.
argument.
The same thing there that the logically minded people at the next level server did. Okay? No, this isn't a logically airtight modus tollens because the premises aren't true. It's not true that if the Earth is a sphere, water must curve. Okay? That doesn't even follow. They're not even contingently related in any way, shape, or form. Just like a friend here just said he could envision 3 ways that that could be possible. So it's not true that that's the case. The only way for you to assume it's the case is to assume the heliocentric model and some of its caveats. So, like, what game are we playing here? Let's unmute Bev, and he's probably still talking like he never got muted. Go ahead.
So what's your
Sounds like
contention
you're
then?
just trying to rebrand what QE did.
So what's your contention then? I haven't been listening.
I've just been listening to you talk shit, but you've not made a point. You're trying to tell everybody that it isn't a natural consequence of the Earth being a sphere.
You guys retarded, and your mic is too sexy, bro. You got to chill out, bro.
Yeah, but just anybody. Did anybody else notice the critique that I made?
Of course.
His first statement doesn't follow. If the Earth is a sphere, it's not necessary that water must curve. So his entire modus tollens is a pile of turd from the get.
Yep. Weren't very specific, Bev.
Now watch this question. Watch this question. Bev, I'm going to ask you one question. Why is it that if the Earth is a sphere, water must curve? That would make this modus tollens valid. Why is that the case that if the Earth is a sphere, under any circumstance, water must curve? Go ahead, Bev.
Because the surface of a sphere curves.
Wow. Wow, dude. Wow. Painful. All right, so.
And I presume the surface of a spherical object. Because I don't say sphere.
Why is it that if the surface of a sphere curves, water must curve? Go ahead.
Because the water would be on the surface.
Why?
Because water is on the surface in reality.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see where you're going with that. So let's pause for a second. So you're assuming that the water on the surface must cover the entire surface, right? Because it's wrapped around 70% of the ball, right? Anybody notice the error he made?
Spherical
object. I just want to give everyone a chance
argument.
to notice before I tell you the answer.
Well, when he says water, he means the crayons, the blue color, the blue that you painted with. That's the water, right, Beth?
Oh, he's assuming a limited size of the Earth, and he's assuming that the territory of the Earth is wrapped around the sphere, and so the water that's presented to us is also wrapped around the sphere. Again, not mentioned in the argument. He's trying to make it contingent with spheres and curved water, not globe models. You see the problem? And he's discounting the fact that if you have a bigger globe with a surface on top, with the gravity vector being in a differential, in other words, down relative to a top surface which is flat, that the water on that surface would be flat, but the overall structure of the Earth in totality would be a giant globe-ish form. So again, he's begging you to come into the presuppositions of the globe paradigm to help his modus tollens out, rather than caveating out all the particulars, which is the exact same thing he's accusing Quantum Eraser, right? It's like, what are we dealing with here?
He's trying to rebrand it to make it sound like he's come up with something different or new
Yeah.
or better. But
here, if he actually parsed his particulars properly.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that, so it's similar to what QE's doing.
Isn't he? He's like, oh, well, you have to imagine the Earth as the globe that they presented you. And so when I say sphere, that's what you have to imagine. I don't have to actually parse out the particulars in my argument while I go and critique somebody else's argument. Why would being precise have anything to do with anything? I could just say it's a good argument because I'm Bev.
Free to critique the argument.
It's almost like there's room in his argument for, I don't know, maybe advancement.
Yeah, so let's see if he can put it together with why if the Earth is a sphere, water must curve. Let's see if he can bring that home with an actual argument that carries the conclusion of a necessity that's simple, elegant, and easy to understand. Go ahead.
The surface of a spherical object would curve. So if water was on the surface of that particular thing in reality, right, then the water would curve as well, wouldn't it? It would have to.
Yeah, where does it say that in your argument?
It says it's in the Q statement.
No, it
the
isn't.
consequent of the Earth being a spherical object would mean that the water on the surface of it would have to curve also.
No, it doesn't. Oh, it doesn't.
That's what the argument states.
I could care less what your argument states. That's false.
Okay.
Yeah, you forgot to caveat in your argument that if the water is covering the entire surface of the sphere, then the water would have to curve. Okay? It's not my fault you didn't make your argument precise, dude, and you left it open to critique.
The entire surface, does it? I mean, any part of it would be curved.
No, it doesn't have to, dude. No, it doesn't have to. See, here's the problem. I can explain it to you very simple.
Water, no?
Let me explain it to you. So simple, dude. So, if I take a bowling ball, right, 3 finger holes, and I orient the 3 finger holes to the top of the bowling ball, and then I fill those holes up with water, the liquid stuff. Okay? The bowling ball is still the same form, it's a ball, but the water inside those finger holes will be flat on the surface if they're oriented at the top of the ball. So I just demonstrated you. Now, you may say, oh, well, that's because it's a depression in the ball. Okay, let me do it this way. I'll take the ball and I'll orient the fingers down. Then at the top of the ball, I'll take a little bit of clay and I'll make a ring and I'll press it on the top of the ball to make a little containment for my water. I'll then fill that water into the little containment ring and the surface of that water will be flat, but the bowling ball will still be a what? A ball. So no, it's not true that if the object that water is on is a ball, that the surface of water must curve. So you are simply incorrect, Bev, and I just demonstrated it in 2 ways that exclude your conclusion. And now I know that my other friend who mentioned it earlier was probably thinking something similar. He immediately recognized, wait a minute, that ain't true. So you are requiring special caveats that you're not putting in your argument, and it can be easily disproved as I just did. Now let's unmute your mic and see if you learned anything. It's evolved.
Okay, the first premise is if the Earth is a spherical object, it doesn't really matter what you've got in your hand, does it? The thing's talking about
so
if the
now
Earth.
you gotta say the whole Earth, dude, and where the water is on the Earth, and that it's not excluded in a corral like I described. Okay.
Yeah, that's the premise. If
or
the
you
Earth
have to
is a
petition
spherical
to
object,
debunking the globe model, which has the water wrapped around, which isn't given in your premises here. So you're expecting your listener to input their pre-thinking into something you haven't argued for.
I think that might be your
pretty silly
seditious
how
mind.
easily I'm just deconstructing your logical argument designed by the logical thinkers at the next level logic server.
It's getting a bit triggered.
I'm going to unmute you so we can listen to some more Cope session.
Okay. Sounds like you're doing all right. I think you'll get through
Yeah, it
this.
sounds like you were about to say something about me rather than the argument. Not interested.
The argument speaks for itself.
I want you to exclude the two scenarios that I said of the Earth being a sphere, quote unquote, because we already know you're going to play pedantic games with the term sphere. So a spheroid, not a perfect
spherical
sphere,
object,
but a ball in general shape and form.
Spherical
exclude
object.
the fact that a ball in general shape or form can exist and water be on the surface of it, and that water be flat. Exclude that. Go ahead and try.
It must
Go
curve.
ahead, please. I want all the audience and all my friends here to witness you deconstruct yourself live. Go ahead, bro.
Don't know. It's just an argument. Yeah, it's me.
Okay, Bev, thanks for playing. You just conceded that you're a retard.
You didn't make it sound that way when you come in here, man. Like you were trying to get everybody in on how what QE has presented, because we're gonna give it to QE, flat data or whatever, whoever that is. Like, yeah. So you had this beat. We all know you have it in for QE, Ben. And so the whole thing was you were going to show us how what you have was top tier, and what AI just demonstrated
about if the
is that you
argument
didn't put in the exclusion that you should have, or caveat it at least, so that it could be something else other than the thing that you're making people think that you have to assume.
Sounds like their
begging
argument
like
progressed.
the idea that you have like a globe in mind that everybody has to assume that that's the same globe that you're thinking of, put in somebody else's mind. Dude, you're trying to rebrand the thing that QE's done. So, I mean, I don't know for what reason. And maybe you just dislike him because he maybe thrashed you a little bit in one of the VCs that you had with him. But this is nothing more than your attempt at trying to get back at him for, I don't know, years of maybe him dogging you out or something.
One more caveat to that, Alpha. Quantum Eraser is on record being asked about this very thing and explaining himself about it and why he did it the way he did it and that he did it on purpose. Whereas Bev can't even explain anything or even respond when questioned.
Purpose.
And when the floor was given to him, it was just clearly, it's just an argument. Well, it's not what it sounded like when you first came in here, bro. Like, you really wanted us to like see what you had.
Yeah, what he usually.
It's like
Alpha. I mean, what he usually says after that is, "It's just an argument. Why are you getting so worked up?" Make it about the person rather than defending the logic fail that he presents on his platform, and they caveat it. See, this is what I said before I played it. They caveat it with, "This is designed by the logical thinking people at this logical server." It's like, no, this is a logical train wreck. It doesn't even prove your case, and it has false premises. And it has to borrow from the knowledge base of the assumptions of the viewer of the argument.
Yeah.
In other words, it's very poorly done. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 3 at best.
All right, but yeah, it's just an argument, AI.
All right, let's let Bev defend himself. Maybe he'll finally tell us a definition of flat that's mechanically functional in the three-dimensional world. Go ahead. Your last chance. Go for it.
It's just a visual surface condition.
Dude, what's a visual surface condition?
Flat.
Okay, what type of visual surface condition is it?
The one that you can see.
Okay, guys. This is the intelligence level of people who tout themselves as intelligentsia. Keep in mind, friends, that Bev has a server called Try Thinking, Next Level, and he routinely critiques us and our arguments, and he always critiques
level.
FED and their arguments. This is what he has to offer. I say, give me a mechanical definition of flat that can function in three-dimensional reality, and his answer is, it's something you can see.
It's a visual
What kind of thing is it that you can see? The type of thing you can see.
A visual surface.
Like, really?
Condition.
That's what you have to say, bro?
Flat.
Wow.
I think I remember that song. Sailor went to CCC to see what he could see.
Yeah. And all that he could see was FLAAATT.
What mountains are flat?
Actually, that song goes like do re mi fa sol la si. It goes like that.
It was good exposition. Yeah.
Worst part is he'll go back to his server and the guys will critique what we just did and they'll say, "Oh, Bev, you were wrecking them, knocking them down, taking names, making them rage quit."
Well, I don't know. I don't know what they'll say.
He got to get his kicks off for Route 66 somehow, man. I don't know, but yeah, no, I've heard him say that it's a real globe, and you know his beef with QE. That's just a thing that's going to keep going.
It's just an argument.
Well, in case you hadn't noticed it, his worldview actually includes the Earth being an actual globe, as one of the logical potentialities.
Absolutely. Everyone knows his globe.
That's true. He's given the
What
guys
type of
high
globe?
fives
What
and
type of? Yeah, but check this out. Here's the funniest part about it. The type of globe it would be is a giant ball where we live on the top, because up is up and down is down, and all horizontals are horizontal and all are parallel. So that means the vector of down is generally aggregately truly down. So that means that water would fall off the sides of this giant ball, but if you're in a contained area, it would lay flat. So the caveats of his potentialities of worldviews that would exist with his arguments actually includes the critique of his stupid argument that I gave. Isn't that funny?
It's weird.
Yeah, like a bowling ball with one of the holes filled up with water.
Yeah. That was genius.
Bev, I got a question.
Put some
I got a
water
question for Bev.
in a hole on a bowling ball.
No. It was that simple to disprove your stupid logical argument you thought you had. Go ahead, Jemsy. Sorry.
Bev, I got a question for you. Will you answer?
Yeah, go on.
I posted something, a quote that you have on your profile. Can you explain it to me, what that means, that quote that you have on your profile?
Go on, what's it say? I've got
The quote
profiles.
says, I neither know nor think. I know of that which I have no proof for.
Yes.
And such proof I have is mine and mine alone.
Absolutely.
What does it mean?
That I only know what I know. And I only know that, truly know it, because of the proofs that I hold for those things that I do know. But it also sort of means that I can't give that proof to you. I can't just sort of hand it to you, because it's my proof.
Can you give one example so I can visualize it?
Well, I was asked to prove that level was horizontal. Right? So I went through a series of events from like believing this thing that I knew, right? But I didn't actually know it. So I needed to devise a way to actually know it. So I worked through a series of proofs from first principles.
Yeah, can you tell us what they are real quick?
What? First principles?
No, like your series of proofs. Like, you know, you said series, so there's at least two. So why not just give us two?
Right, well, it starts off, like I say, it starts off at first principles. You have to understand where all of this information comes from. So the foundations of geometry are built upon logic. So you have to know the laws of logic that you're reasoning with.
Interesting.
That's what Plato's cave was all about, the shadows that you get taught in your youth.
Why don't you tell us then? Why don't you tell us?
Well, like again, I had to go back and find those shadows. The first principles.
Why don't you tell us?
Okay. What, tell you what? The laws of logic. You get triggered.
Dude, why don't you tell us?
You'll get
proof?
triggered if I try and talk about logic, because you're the
Holy
master.
Crap. You see what we got to do here? See what we got to deal with? He supposedly has these proofs. We ask him what they are, and then he just tells us we'll get triggered if he talks about them. Like, what are we even wasting our time for? So, Bev, I'm gonna mute you. For the love of God, just tell us, bro. How freaking hard could it possibly be? Like, for example, you might say, because of the law of non-contradiction, a line cannot be a not a line, right? And a this and a that can't be this. And then I measured this thing over here, and I applied this to that, and then I got the conclusion that, because this line is going straight through these points, and those are arranged horizontally, and that's relevant to sea level or something, therefore this and that. I mean, come on, dude. How freaking hard is it, dude? Or do we got to buy the 10-week seminar first or something? I mean, come on. Just tell us.
Well, you realize that your shadows took 7 years to be implemented. So, like, how long have you got?
Holy fuck, dude. Hey, so you got nothing, Bev. Nothing. You're just going to tell us that you have this truth, but you can't tell anybody else what it is. Wow.
Proof.
Cool story, bro.
My proof.
Big waste of everyone's time, Bev. Why don't you go back to your server and speak to your acolytes? You're literally wasting all of our time. Okay, unless you want to tell us something meaty about how you discovered something, how you came to a conclusion, how you did a field test, or how you did a practical example of something that resulted in something. Like, what are you even here for? Like, why are you even here at all? Okay, you're being asked to present your case.
Here to see how
for the love of God, present it. Watch this, guys. He won't even try. Go ahead, bro.
I was here to see how the argument had progressed, not to give you a presentation. I mean, if you want to get your argument together, show us how it's progressed. Because I've definitely progressed.
Okay. Check this out, dudes. He supposedly has something. So we ask him, hey, can you tell us what it is? Well, if you want to get your argument together.
Yeah, can you not?
Cool story, bro. Let us know when you've decided to become benevolent enough to share your truths with other people instead of being a selfish asshole hoarding them to yourself and just coming here to dance on us lesser beings. Freaking pedantic asshole. All right, Bev, we're going to give you a parting goodbye before we ban your ass. All right, go ahead. Oh, my goodness.
What happened?
All right,
Somebody's trying to unmute him? One at a
Too
time,
many
guys.
people are trying to unmute him. All right, go ahead, we think.
No. Hold on, I'll do it.
Final round.
Go try thinking in the house. Go try thinking in the house.